For a while. All right, so I'll be sharing the screen now. This is the PowerPoint. I hope you can see it. Can you, class? Thumbs up naman dyan. Kung nakikita nyo. Can you see it? All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chafay. Ano, Chafay? May? How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Ay, good. Dapat I'm great. Okay lang. Ay, asan na yung participants ko? Kasi baka may pumapasok pa. I can't see the participants. Saan na yun? Ay, there you go. Alright. Okay. So the rules and regulations of track events. The same with the module or handout or the file that I have published. So overview. It's not, before we proceed to that one, it's not easy kasi to just read that one. So I decided to have a Zoom meeting with you to explain further. All right. So whenever you are, while I am discussing the rules, if you want to raise your hand, you just click that one or you just unmute yourself and what do you call this one? And excuse me, sir, sabihin nyo lang if I'm going too fast or if you cannot see the PowerPoint or blurred or any concerns about the discussion. Okay, it's okay for me for you to interrupt me as long as it's related to the subject for you to be helped. Okay, right. So next, let's proceed to the sprints. We have in running events, we have three categories. We have the sprinting events, the middle distances, and then the long distance events. Now in sprinting, yun lang muna, walang hurdles, walang steeplechase or relay na muna. Pure running events lang muna. Do we have foreign students here? Yeah. Wala. Ako lang.
Wala, sir.
Ako lang. Okay. Alright. So sprints, tatlo lang naman ang sprinting events. 100, 200, and 400 meters. Okay? Para at least makapagtagalog naman ako, hindi dire-diretso na English. Okay? Mahirap mag-English, no? Sprints are short distance running events. Pag sinabing sprinting events, maximum speed to, hindi kailangan ng endurance. Unlike in middle and long distances, kailangan ng endurance doon. Okay? So in sprinting events, yan yung tatlo lang. Sa middle and long distance running events, yung middle events, it says there, 800 meters only and 1,500 meters only. So dalawa lang. In long distance, tatlo, either 3 or 2. 5,000, 10,000 meter run, or 3,000. Kasari din pala yung 3,000. Sa sprinting events, we may call this as 100 meter dash, 100 meter sprint, or yeah, you cannot call this as 100 meter run, no? Because it's a sprint, it's a sprinting. Okay? So yun. In middle and long distances, you don't need a full speed here, full time or all the time. It's not just about speed. Okay? You have to understand the way you have to maintain your speed, your pace, your endurance lang, and heart endurance. Ganun yun. So it's not just speed all the time. Kailangan mong you have to control your speed for your endurance, parang ganun. But if you can have your speed all throughout, no, kasi long distance or middle distance, well, that's good. Right, before we move on to the rules and regulations, I want you to understand these 5 terms: starting blocks, false start, starting line, the finish line, and the break line. When we say starting blocks, I believe all of you have seen the starting blocks in our module 3, right? So which one who will be the one using this one is the athlete, not the officials. Okay, so they'll put their feet there on your marks sa command na yun. False start naman, when we say false start, if there are any violations committed if there are any violations committed, where during the 3 commands, like on your mark or on your marks, set, and then bang, or the sound of the gun, no? Any commands doon. So the rules will be given later. Starting line naman, when you say false start kasi, when you say false start, it pertains to the, on your marks. When you're on your marks, you have to approach the starting block, put your feet there, and then put your hands before the starting line. On your marks, you position yourself there. So once you're steady, that's the time the official is going to announce set. Once it's set, your knee on the ground, the knee that is touched on the ground will be raised. Okay, will be raised on the mark set, on the command set. So after the set command, you did not raise your knee, your knee. It's already a false start. Okay, have you watched the video, Taz? I hope you watched the video. You would know that one, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kurt, Red, John, Santiago. Now, you can only run after the sound of the gun. On your mark, set, bang! Kunwari, no? English. Pagka Tagalog, pwede naman on your mark, set, bishngaw. Ganun yan. Pwede yun. Di ba? Right? So, after the sound of the gun, that's the time you can run. Pero, you cannot run before the sound of the gun. Actually, pwede mong sabayan, pero mahirap sabayan yung sound ng gun. Mahirap sabayan yun. So, mas maganda, after you hear that one or after the sound of the gun, that's the time you can only run. But once you beat the sound of the gun before, so it's already a false start. Yun yan. Right, starting line and finish line. Before we move on to the starting line, I want you to know that there is only one finish line, this one. Okay, I hope you can see the slide. This one is the finish line, only one. Okay, you finish running from here, the last oval or straightway, and then finish. Okay, you finish. The finish line is facing the sunrise. The finish line is facing the sunrise, right? And by the way, when you run, it's counterclockwise with your left hand inside, okay? Now you run from here. This is the first bend. When I say first bend, that's the first part of the oval, okay? This is now, you run again. This is now the first straightway. First straightway, that's the second part of the oval. Second bend, third part of the oval. And last, second straightway, last part or fourth part of the oval, and you are done. Okay, so once you run that one whole, one lap is 400 meters all in all. But only in lane 1. The exact 400 meters or meter measurement is only in lane 1. Kasi try to analyze that one, di ba? When you go out, you go to the outer lane, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4. Dito sa curve, mas mahaba, right? The longer the distance, yan. The distance from this up to there, outer lanes, are longer compared to this shorter. So the exact 400 meters is lane 1 only. Okay? That is why whenever a race, short distance race, will start in the bend, like 400 meters, staggered ang tawag dyan. Lane 1, position athlete, 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, lane 5, lane 6, lane 7, lane 8. Ganun yung staggered na sinasabi ko. Kasi nga, hindi eksakto ang curve na 100 or 400 pagka sa curve sa oval. Unlike in the straightway, it's exact. Okay? It's exact. Yan. So, when you transfer to the other lane, it's not allowed also. But later na lang yan. Right? So, that's the finish line. The starting line is, that depends on the event. Like for example, if this is the finish line, therefore, patras ka to locate the 100-meter dash. So, this is the starting line. Straight siya. Kasi nga, you're going to start in a straight way. So straight siya. If an event will start in a bend, then it should be staggered. Okay? In short distance, right? Short distance. Yan. How about 200-meter dash? Dito naman, patras siya. Kasi, ayan, staggered na naman. Kasi bend nga eh. Lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, the white one. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ganun yan. So, 100, 200, finish line. Ganun yan. So, that's the starting line. And the rest, of course, you just have to go backward or 1,500 or 800 meter run divided by 400 meters. Doon nyo malalaman, no, kung ilang lap at kung saan. Now, the break line. Let's proceed again. Let's go back to the oval. This is the green one. The green one. Dito banda yun. That's the break line that we are talking about. In 800 meter run and in 4 by 400 meters relay, 4 by 400 meter relay, this break line is applicable. I repeat, in 800 meter run and 4 by 400. Why? In 800 meter run, that is already middle distance class, no? 800 meter run. So 800 meter run, I think this is the 800 meter run. Somewhere here, no? Or ito rin yata yun. Eh, maliit kasi hindi ko makita masyado. But there is a track oval file in your canvas where you can zoom that out or you can zoom that in para makita nyo yung label niya. Pati itong mga to, makikita nyo yung mga yan. Pero mag-focus kayo dun sa start yung mga label niya, kung saan ang starting lines ng different events. Now, in 800 meter run, before we move on to the 800 meter run, 100 meter dash, 200 meter dash, and 400 meter dash, if you are in lane 1, if you are in lane 3, you are not allowed, you should run in your lane 3 only until finish line. Until finish line, okay? You are not allowed to transfer to the other lanes because sprinting events yan. Mabilis ang takbo yan. Okay, yun. So sa lane 4 ka lang, sa lane 4 ka lang. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-shortcut, hindi ka pwedeng mag-long cut sa outer lane. Pwede ka nang, yun. In 800 meter run naman, pwede nang mag-transfer doon sa lane 1 dito banda. Pagkalagpas mo, once you pass this break line. Kaya siya tinatawag na break line. For example, in 800 meter run, lane 3 athlete or runner will run the first bend in lane 3 only until the end of the curve. Once he or she reaches the break line, he or she may now transfer to the inner lane. Ganun yun. Okay? Kasi wala nang shortcut dito. Dito kasi may shortcut kasi mas mahaba yung outer lanes. That's how they do it. So that's in 800. That's the application of break line. Now, in 4 by 400, when we say 4 by 400, 4 runners will run 400 meters each. Okay? Carrying the baton. Like, for example, this is in lane, lane 5, for example. First runner carrying the baton will run the whole 400 meters in lane 4 only. In lane 4 only, no? Carrying the baton and then passing it to the next runner who will receive here. Okay, pupunta na yung next runner dito pagka nakatakbo na yung mga yan, no? Yung mga first runner. So yung second runner nandito na, he will be receiving the baton and then he will also run the whole of his lane in the bend run, no, until here. After that one, yung second runner na, he may now transfer to the other lane anywhere. Okay, he may not transfer. That's the application of, or that's the function of the break line in 800 meter run and 4 by 400 meter relay races in baton relay. Okay, so yun yung break line. What are these? Denominate line, curve lines. Curve lines. These are the white curve lines. Starting lines lahat yan. Starting lines ng 1,500 dito and then 10,000, 3,000 meters steeplechase. I think this is, hindi ko makita yung ano niya. Long distances, 10,000, 5,000 and walkathon. Pero walkathon hindi kasali dito sa running events, no? Ano lang muna to? Running events lang muna. Walkathon is a special event. Special event. Okay? I admit. Sorry, agraan. Alright. Next. Let's proceed to the next slide. How to start event. In sprinting, crouch position. Kung napanood nyo yung video, nandun no? Sa video link, no? Crouch position, standing position. 2 commands for crouch position sprinting. 3 commands pala in sprinting crouch position, 2 commands in longer distances. Okay? Or longer distance events. Ayun yun. Next, in longer distance naman, 2 commands lang, no? So, ano yung sa commands sa sprinting events? We have on your mark or marks, pag madami, set, and then the sound of the gun. Those are the 3. In longer naman, on your marks, and then bang kaagad, no? Bisngaw, ganoon siya kaagad. So, wala na siyang set command. Natanggal na. Kasi standing lang yun. Hindi naman na sila naka-crouch position. Okay? So, that's the way it is. Now, how a typical race proceeds. Okay? You occupy a position before the starting line. Once they hear the starting gunshot, that's the time they're going to run. Okay? They run in their respective lanes dito sa ano to sa sprinting event, no? Okay. Take note of this one. Athlete's torso crosses the vertical plane. So that means you are only finished or you've crossed the finish line if your torso part have crossed it. So what is the torso? Which part? Below the bottom or the bottom of the neck down to the waistline. So that is the torso part. So once that part of the body crosses the finish line, it's already a finish. But that doesn't mean that you're the winner. You have to finish first or reach first the finish line for you to be a winner. Pero kung second, third ka lang or huli ka, na-finish mo lang, no? Na-finish mo lang. For example, pagdating ko dun sa finish line, I perform a dive finish. When I say dive finish, yung parang idadive mo yung ulo mo lang, hindi yung magdadive mismo sa tartan sa floor or sa tartan track oval. Hindi naman yung swimming. Pag sinabing dive, idadive mo lang yung ulo mo forward para to help your torso cross the finish line. So pagka-dive ko na ganyan, yung neck ko ang nag-cross muna, pero yung torso ng kasama ko, ng kalaban ko, ang competition ko ang nauna na nag-cross. That means siya ang winner, hindi ako, kasi yung neck ko lang naman ang nauna pero hindi naman yung torso part ko. So any part of the body not part of the torso is not allowed or is allowed pero not considered as finish. Right? So ganun yan. How to win an event in running? Of course, letter E, the first who reaches the finish line. Okay, the first to reach finish line. Let's go back to letter A. So each race is divided into various rounds and each round. Okay, we have 16 athletes for example. 16 athletes. Pero in 16 athletes kasi hindi pwedeng sila sabay-sabay lahat doon sa track oval. Right? There are only 8 to 10 lanes in track oval. So 8 lang ang pwede doon. So that's the first hit in one round. Tapos yung next na 8 players, 8 runners naman, pagkatapos ng first 8 runners na tumakbo, second 8 runners naman, that's the first round, second hit ang tawag doon. Okay? So that's letter A, no? Ito naman, past achievements and records are considered while dividing the athletes among heats. Alright. So, for example, ako, meron akong record dun sa region na mataas yung record ko. May record ako, number 1 ako, number 2 ako, or yung kasama ko, number 1, number 2, no? Ang mangyayari ngayon doon, isi-seeding ako. When we say seeding, like for example, in oval kasi we have 8 lanes, right? The best lanes are lane 3, lane 4, lane 5, and lane 6. Why? Kasi nasa gitna yon. Yung peripheral vision mo, you can see your competitors. Unlike in 1 and 2, lane 1 and 2, or lane 7 and 8, malayo yung left side mo lang ng mata mo. Ang nakikita lang niya yung kung sino yung kalaro mo or yung kasabay mo, ganun yun. So the best lanes are 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 4 and 5. Lane 4 and lane 5. Ganun yan. Kasi most likely, 8 lanes lang ginagamit sa track oval. O paano ngayon yun kung gusto ko yung sa track oval, gusto ko yung lane 4? Hindi pwede. Kung may record ako, maganda yung record ko, for example, top 4 kami. Yung top 4 na yon, magbubunutan sila kung sino ang makakabunot sa lane 3, 4, 5, 6, ganun yan. No? Kasi ibibigay sa kanila yung lane 3, 4, 5, 6 because they have the good records. Yung mga lower records, hindi maganda, hindi masyadong mababa yung level ng record nila. Magbubunatan sila sa lane 2, lane 1, lane 7, and lane 8. Ganun yun, letter B. Now, next, letter C. Through athletes might be randomly placed in the first round. Okay na yan. Okay? Letter D, okay na rin yan. Na-explain ko na yan kanina. Most likely, general yung explanation ko kaya hindi ko na binasa isa-isa to, no? Ayan. So, letter E, yan lang. Hinighlight ko yan para at least alam nyo yun. The first to reach, and ito yung the last slide is this one, no? Yan, torso part ang finish. Let's proceed to the running rules now. Right. Sprinters should run in designated lanes and cannot cross lanes throughout the race. So in sprinting, you cannot transfer to the other lane. You cannot transfer and then go back to your lane. No. So once you step on the white line, limiting your lane, limiting your lane, outside the white line, limiting your lane, it's already a disqualification or violation. Okay? Letter B. In 800-meter race, they start from staggered positions. Yung discuss ko kanina, no? And then, pagdating nila dun sa exit ng first bend, pagdating nila sa brake line, ito yun, no? They may now go to the inner lanes. Yun yan, to the inner lanes. Alright? Right, next. In longer races, 1,500, 5,000 pataas, hindi na applicable yung brake line. So, yung denouement line na sinabi ko kanina, no? Yan, ito yung denouement line sinabi ko sa kanila. Sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, no? Once on your mark or marks, and then bang! Okay? They're not following, they don't need to follow any lanes. Pwede silang pumasok lahat dito sa lane 1 or lane 2. Ganyan. Kasi long distance events na yan. Long distance events na yan. Alright? So that's how long distance events are. Asan na yun? Saan na ako? Standing position, longer races. Oh, ito yun. Alright, so that's letter C. Letter D, should not step on white lines that mark their lanes throughout. Okay, for example, this is the white line, and then this is the other white line. So at the center, that's where your lane is. If you step outside the white line, imaginary, then it is a violation in sprinting only, but in longer distances, hindi. Okay? Sensors are, letter E, sensors are placed in the starting pistol. 31 minutes? 9 minutes? Remaining time, 9 minutes. Okay. Sensors are placed in the finish line, in the starting block, and in the pistol. Okay? So once you leave your starting block, not before or not after the starting gun, the sound of the starting gun, it's nadidetect siya dun sa computer or sa gadget. But that is only applicable not in the Philippines, actually in Olympics only, because as we all know, in the Philippines we are left behind in terms of technology. Manual pa rin tayo, kaya maraming nadadaya pagdating dun sa track oval, no? Unlike in America or in European countries, may sensor sila, may detector sila. Okay? So before giving the set command or before firing the starter gun, athletes cannot touch the other side of the start line with their hands or feet. I have discussed that one already. Letter G, you are not allowed to block or to obstruct any athlete. Okay? Either in sprinting or in long distance or in middle distance. Hindi mo pwedeng harangan ang mga athlete. Okay? That's a violation also. If an athlete is obstructed, the referee may order the race to be held again. Okay? Yung athlete na naapektuhan or the athlete was affected, may rerun in the next round or in the next hit. Ganun yan. Okay? So athletes may leave the track voluntarily before the race ends. Pero once you leave the track before the race ends, you are not allowed to go back anymore. You are not allowed to go back anymore. Okay? But they cannot come back to the track. Otherwise, disqualified na sila. Okay? Once you leave kasi, doesn't mean na disqualified ka na pero wala ka ng record. Pero pag gusto mo pumasok, hindi na pwede. Okay? Pwede ka naman pumasok, tumakbo pa rin, but then, it's already a ground for disqualification. Right? So that's how they do it. Okay, so I think that's all. Oh, any question? Questions, class? Huwag lang mahirap. Charot. Questions? May questions ba kayo? Wala?
Okay.
Ano? Sino may questions? Wala. Sino pang hindi nakapanood dun sa video? Sino pang hindi nakapanood sa video? Panood nyo ba lahat yung video?
Anong video, sir?
Yung starting position nandun sa module. Types of starting positions and commands. Nakalagay doon.
Subscribe nyo daw si Sir sa YouTube.
Wala ko sinabi. Ilagay ko lang sa link yun. Okay? So, yung video na yon, some parts of those yun yung gagawin ninyo. Kung nakita nyo yung module 4 class, pagpunta nyo dun sa assessment, yun yung requirement ninyo to upload a video of yourself and a photo of yourself. Okay. And one more thing, I did not discuss here the types of starting position and the commands in long distance and short distances because it's already in the video. Okay? And this one also is recorded na rin. Okay? So if you watch that one, you would understand the 3 commands, 2 commands, position of crouch and standing. So questions?
Aming internet, sir eh.
Ano?
Mabagal, sir.
Sir, kailangan ba
Hindi po
i-edit yung
masyado
video?
naiintindihan, sir, yung ano.
Sir, paano pala yun yung sa video?
Sir, pwedeng yung video na sa phone na lang, ganon.
Yes, sa phone lang. Okay lang sa phone. Okay lang sa phone yung video.
Saan, sir,
Anong klaseng video yan, sir?
Sir, open field ba dapat gagawin or pwedeng
Hindi.
sa ano na lang?
Hindi. Kunwari, dyan sa loob ng bahay nyo, maglagay kayo ng masking tape na kunwari starting line. Tapos,
Kahit hindi na 3 meters, sir?
kunwari, atras kayo konti, kunwari 3 meters away. Diba? Kunwari lang. Atras lang kayo konti.
Sana all.
Kunwari sa CR, gusto nyo sa CR. Magigit yung CR nyo.
Grabe.
Huwag naman sa CR.
Sir, kailangan ba naka-side view yung video or front view?
No, side view. Magandang side view kasi nakikita yung buong yung process. Okay, nakita yung process. Wag front view. Right? Wag
Top
front
view.
Wag din top view. Ayun.
May makikita na hindi dapat.
Wag din top view. Sa floor,
Naka-white shirt pa ba, sir?
Ano?
Naka-white shirt pa ba, sir?
Tapos jogging pants, sir.
Nakaka tayo, sir.
Wait lang. Isa-isa muna.
Sir, naka-white shirt? Di na, no?
Delonix, ikaw muna. White shirt? Hindi na.
Kahit nakatapless.
Wag na kayo mag-white shirt.
Ahubad.
Visit
Sige,
kayo.
sir.
So, nakatayo, sir. Ganon.
Wag na kayo mag-white shirt. Pero magdamit kayo.
Tandogang.
Pero
Tandogang.
transparent. Yan. Sa mga babae,
Sana may damit.
Sir, pag mag-isa mo lang sa boarding.
Mag-ponytail kami, sir.
wait lang, yung nagsalita na mag-isa lang sa boarding, yes.
Get mo,
Sir, paano yun?
Yung landlord. Landlady.
Ano na? Sino muna mauna?
Pero ako din solo ko din dito.
Mon, ikaw muna. Ano yun?
Paano po yung mga solo, sir?
If solo mo,
Ako dun sa sinabi.
if solo mo, kailangan mong kailangan yung maglagay ng tripod or any that will hold your cell phone, no? Side view.
Sige sir, bibila tripod daw sa atin.
Huwag ka nang bumili. Pwede namang upuan o kaya ano pa, cabinet, ganon. Iipit mo lang sa, anyway, I know you can be creative with that. Pag gusto,
Sa
maraming
dilata.
saan. Pag ayaw, maraming
Pa-vlogger
saan.
na ako, sir.
O next, sino pa? Question. Chelsea, isa na lang. Chelsea, may question ka?
Sir, paano yung mag-isa ko? Pwede ka bang pumunta dito?
Ano? Ano daw?
Buta!
Oy,
Chelsea mo to.
walang behave.
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 Oh, listen.
Sir!
Question.
Subscribe daw si
Sir, wala. Pa-shoutout na lang. Pa-shoutout na lang, sir.
Go on.
Pa-shoutout na lang, sir.
Solo ka rin, di ba, Lizel?
Hindi, may tatay ako.
Abo.
Wag na muna. John, Alfredo, do you have a question?
None, sir.
All right. Blessy.
None, sir.
Who else? Sino pa ba? Brian. Question? Oh, you click the icon there. Raise your hand if you have question. Para hindi ko natawagin isa-isa gano'n. You have a question, click your hand. I'll click the raise hand. Para makita ko.
Sir, kailan deadline nun? May deadline ba yun?
Deadline nun is until Sunday na lang, class. Kasi exam natin sa Thursday.
Sir, madali lang exam namin.
Multiple choice.
Sana all.
Hopefully, madali na.
Sir, madali lang.
For choice, dapat wala doon.
Ala!
Sir, multiple choice lang, walang essay.
Yes, I will not create an essay. Multiple choice.
Behave.
Siguro. Anyways, I will be informing you ahead of time.
Sana all.
I'll be informing you ahead of time if less than 1 minute na lang tayo. If aside from multiple choice, meron pa ako idadagdag. Okay?
Bigay mo na.
Alright, so please check the module 4. Yung laman ng module 4, nandun lahat, class. Please read all of them or watch all of them or